Hey, Richard Gottlieb.
And this is the point where I usually yell, "Hey, Chris Burns," but it's 7 o'clock in the morning.
Why are we up at this time? This is the Playground Podcast. We never record at 7 in the morning.
Well, it's because our wonderful guest today, Joe Hall with Toys R Us Asia, is in Hong Kong, and it's 7 o'clock at night there.
So it's early for us and late for Joe. And Joe, welcome. It is so nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you are really an icon in the toy industry. So I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are, a little bit about your career, and a little bit about what Toys R Us Asia is doing these days.
I'm not sure I'm an icon, Chris, but very happy to run you through how I ended up here in Asia. I actually joined Toys R Us in the UK back in the day when, without giving away trade secrets, Jill Barrard and John Ammerman were running Mattel. Alan and Stephen Hessenfeld were at the helm of Hasbro. Toys R Us UK had 4 stores, and I was an humble apprentice of a certain Philip Scher. I stayed with TRU UK, for 12 years, and then moved on, set up a .com, and then joined Woolworths in the UK, eventually becoming commercial director, a member of the board before my 40th birthday, and then opted to move to Asia with Woolworths because, one, I wanted to get closer to the emerging markets of China and India. And also, I thought it'd be useful if my kids could speak Mandarin, because clearly with the strength of China coming through, I thought it'd be quite useful if they could speak Mandarin. So we moved out here in 2007. Obviously, Woolworths went by the way. I then became a vendor and ran a manufacturing business in China, manufacturing furniture and storage, and then had a conversation with Toys R Us Asia and came back to Toys R Us, obviously over here. And on my first day, they gave me the same login that I had left 12 years prior. So that is very funny. And it is still Hall J2 because Jill Halls of True Kids still has the J Hall login. So there you go. There's a bit of history that transpired all these years.
And what is your title now?
I'm Chief Commercial Officer for Asia. That's 10 markets from Japan, China, through Northern China, Southeast Asia, through to the Philippines.
But Joe, I think it's what would be very important for listeners is to get a sense of what's happening with Toys R Us in Asia. American listeners may not be aware that Toys R Us is not just alive and well, but is thriving in Asia. So can you tell us a little bit what's going on with Toys R Us in Asia right now?
Well, one, we're passionate about toys, but Toys R Us has been in Asia for 36 years. And it actually has a very deep-rooted brand affinity and fondness with consumers across Asia. We have over 550 stores now across Asia, and we feel passionately about building opportunities for families to spend quality leisure time together so that they can create cherished memories and spend happy times together. The Asian family spend a lot of time in shopping malls, and part of that shopping repertoire, if you've got kids, is to pop into Toys R Us, where there's lots of experiential opportunities to play with products, get to know products, take selfies. It's very dynamic in terms of our displays and our ability to feature movies, new products, new launches. So from a consumer perspective, our brand is loved, and we really value that relationship and connection with our customers. On another level, we are incredibly fast to market because we can see a product in China and it can be in our stores within 2 weeks. So that gives us a huge opportunity to bring great new product to market first. We're extremely nimble, and we also like to experiment, as we call it, learn and burn. If it doesn't work, we move on. But I think at the heart of what we do, we love families, and they are at the forefront of all of our decision-making, our thinking, our stores, our online. And I think that's a responsibility that we hold very dear. And I think the consumers reward us with their loyalty and love for the brand too. So it's kind of a mutual family forum and brand connection, if you like, that's been built over 36 years.
Joe, can you break out for everybody where your stores are located?
So we have over 160 in Japan, well over 200 in China, about 20 in Taiwan, 14 in Hong Kong, 10 in Singapore, 38 in Malaysia, coming down, Thailand's 14, about 89 in the Philippines, 3 in Macau, and 1 in Brunei, roughly.
more or less.
Yeah.
I've been going to Hong Kong now for more than a quarter of a century, and I do get to the Toys R Us stores when I'm there. But one of the things that's impressed me over the time is that, as you mentioned, experiential play, you embraced that long before it was common in the U.S. We had not transitioned from the toy supermarket concept of Charles Lazarus into more of an interactive toy experience. Can you talk a little bit more about how that works for you guys, how you set that up, how you allocate space for that, and why it works?
Sure. And it's not just about the physical interaction with either the product or creating the drama of a movie. If it were Jurassic World, we decorate the entire store as though you're walking onto a movie set. We do that with all big movies, but also we interact social media and technology as well. So many years ago, we brought augmented reality into stores so kids could develop themes and develop the story on their phone. And we did that back in 2013. But today, with all the different streaming across social media and the role that social media plays across Asia, we like to merge the two worlds, not only of online and offline, but also to bring that technology into our stores. And that adds another dynamic, whether it's a green screen to enact a scene from a movie, or whether the shelf comes to life, packaging comes to life, all using smartphones. We try and push the boundaries and be at the vanguard of kids' experience, entertainment, and it's like a theme park free of charge. It's just come in, and it's an adventure of discovery because the store is constantly changing. Whether that's that front of store, whether it's that end cap, whether it's that new feature area further down the store. We've put new dinosaurs in, a new learning center, new play tables. We launched Toy Fair through the Hong Kong store. We do feel that it's very much part of our DNA to give the children and the families an experience they just won't find anywhere else. And as I said, it's not just about the physical interaction of boxes and seeing three-dimensional props. We try and bring that to life through using technology as well. We are prolific on YouTube and WeChat and all these platforms. So it's important that we feel that they have an integrated experience, but it's a seamless experience. When they're connecting with our brand, we try and make it as exciting, but as seamless as possible.
And we're going to take a quick break right there to bring you a word from one of our supporters, Kid Stuff Public Relations. But stay tuned. There is much more to come with Joe Hall on the Playground Podcast. This is PR Insights, and I'm talking to Lisa Orman, president of Kid Stuff PR. Lisa, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
I get so much enjoyment and pleasure and gratification out of helping my clients and helping reporters. It's so much fun to meet the needs of somebody who's looking for help on a story that they're working on, or a client who needs help with something. If I can find a way to get them what they need and help them out, it's just so much fun.
My entire conversation with Lisa at kidstuffpr.com. And we're back. You're listening to the Playground Podcast. I'm Chris Byrne with Richard Gottlieb, and we're continuing our conversation with the amazing Joe Hall, Chief Commercial Officer of Toys R Us Asia. Toys R Us Asia has been successful for quite a while, but we are confronting an unprecedented challenge. COVID has taken over the world. We had a virus that originated in part in Wuhan, China, also in Europe.
Yeah.
This is changing not only how we do business, but the culture at large. Would love to hear your perspective on what's going on in that arena.
After 4 pretty disruptive years, we broke the dawn of 2020 full of hope and optimism that life would be normal for Toys R Us Asia. And nothing could be further from the truth when, on the eve of Chinese New Year, which is 22nd of January and is bigger than Christmas for us, our stores in China were locked and loaded with all the Chinese New Year inventory. Our DCs were full, and we went into immediate lockdown. It started that weekend in Wuhan, where we have 7 stores, and you saw how rapidly the whole of China went into total and utter lockdown. So we were faced with yet another crisis in that the peak selling period, China was on hold completely. So we immediately put a rapid response team together. We worked, firstly, to check the welfare of all of our colleagues and our customers, because that is primary, of course, in all of our considerations. We worked closely with our great supplier base because the same was happening to them. They were in exactly the same situation. And we went about figuring out what we were going to do. Fortunately, we do have a very robust e-commerce business across the region, and it's getting stronger, and we've learned some incredible lessons there. But I think what we did do is, firstly, every decision was through the lens of people, our colleagues, and our customers. And then we went about figuring out how we could control our controllables. Quite a trite response, but it's very, very true. And we learned from China very quickly what we needed to do, because before we knew it, the tsunami of COVID was crashing across all of our markets at a different pace. So we went into autopilot of, okay, it's now gone into Hong Kong, it went into Japan, it's gone into Singapore, and we were pretty efficient because we knew what to do. And it certainly stress tested our ability and capability to respond in the e-commerce space, which was a great learning curve. I mean, everybody in the business was focused where they could on delivering against satisfying our customers through an e-commerce solution. And that was a very, very steep learning curve. So throughout the last 8 months, with the exception of Taiwan, which never closed, every one of our stores was closed at some point. And I am very happy to say that as of today, everyone is now back open, up and running, and we are open to play again. So very happy to at least, although there are a few flare-ups and a few spikes, we are in a different place. To your very question, we've all learned a lot about social distancing, but I think also we demonstrated some creativity on the marketing side to, engage with our customers to say, your kids are stuck at home. Here are some activity ideas that you can just download, tools to help you either teach your children or keep them entertained through different activities. We repositioned all our marketing to talk about game nights in homecations, even can you turn your house into a zoo? We set up Play O'Clock so that every day we would release some activities at sort of 5 o'clock in the evening. So even those that were schooling, we called it Play O'Clock from Toys R Us, and we downloaded some new material. So the parents loved it. They felt they were getting some support. And we were trying to be as creative as we possibly could, given the situation. It made us think in many different ways, and it continues to do so.
It sounds to me like, as big as you are functioning very much in the mode of the specialty toys stores in the United States, who have really stepped up and become dedicated to providing service and experience and more to their customers during this time. It's pretty impressive.
But also, our stores are on an average are only 10,000 square feet. So they're not the big behemoth 45,000 square feet that you're used to. We do have large stores in Japan, but the rest of the estate is nothing like that. It's a quarter of that.
Joe, you've had the rare experience of working in different cultures. And just right now, based on what you told us about Toys R Us Asia, You're dealing with children in Bahrain and Japan and Taiwan and China, India. Each of these is a different culture. Do you find children are generally children, or do you find there are distinct differences and perhaps in tastes, national tastes? And does it affect in how you select product and merchandise in different countries?
That's a great question, Richard. And I think I'm going to answer it on a number of levels. Where there are religious differences, then we do see some impact on range selections to respect the local religious culture. I think fundamentally in Asia, the homes are very, very small indeed. Very few children have backyards, to use your vernacular. So product has to be compact, storable, and have lots of play value to keep children happy. But I would still say that children are children. What we do find is families shopping in our stores are not only just the children with their immediate parents, but often two sets of grandparents. So the saying is that these children have 6 parents. That's why we find selfie stations and opportunities to take lots of photos is what the whole family loves to do, because, as I said earlier, it's part of their leisure time, how they spend their weekends, and they're building memories. And you can't put a price on that. It's so precious to have a photo with a grandparent and everybody be happy. That's a very, very important part of the role that we feel we're responsible for and we take very seriously.
So essentially, you become not just a toy seller, but a destination for family experience.
100%. Many teachers write to us and they say, when they were at school, on a Monday, what did you do at the weekend? And the vast majority would say, went to McDonald's and then went to Toys R Us. It was part of the treat package of they work very hard through the week. They often have lessons on a Saturday morning. So the biggest treat on Saturday is have a McDonald's and then go and spend 2 hours in Toys R Us every week.
Joe, as you only know too well, the movie industry is a bit in disarray right now. And if I'm correct, that China is the number 2 movie-going public in the world.
Yeah.
Here in the States, Mulan is going direct to video. I understand in China it will open in the theaters. So how are you managing the kind of mayhem going on in terms of movie release?
In China specifically, there's been a massive resurgence in not only the movies, homemade movies in China, but also a genre which has just come to light is the sort of old-fashioned Chinese myths. And that's translating into product as well. And that's doing very well. So if you like, it's the self-containment of the Chinese entertainment industry. They have a massive pipeline. They've invested so heavily, both in Hollywood, but also in movie production in China. So they're pretty well self-contained. Cinemas are back open again. In the rest of the markets, yes, the movies have always been important, and it's been an important part of our ability to drive theatre and excitement and entertainment in store. It will play, I think, a lesser role going forward. And I sense that when there is times of uncertainty, human nature, and parents, particularly when they're referring to product or associated with their children, will default back to brands that they trust. And I think you will see, again, it's a reaffirmation of their trust in our quality and our brand and the heritage that we stand for. We're not a here today, gone tomorrow pop-up shop. We're part of the community, and our stores are all community-based. So I think we'll see another direction and a play pattern of the trust and the consumer preferring to go back to properties and brands that they feel comfortable with and they know.
One of the things we do hear is that in Chinese culture, there is a great emphasis on brands, and that the Chinese, especially when it comes to toys like Lego or Disney or things like that, that the Chinese put a great deal more value potentially on brands than we might in the U.S. Am I off the beam there, or is that something you observe as well?
Absolutely. We probably stock the widest range of Western brands anywhere with any retailer in Asia. And that has always been a key differentiator for us, that we had access to global brands that we could bring to the Asian consumer for that very reason, that they do trust Western brands. As I say, they trust the name above our door, so they feel reassured that they will get the quality and the variety from our stores.
Jill, if someone's considering who's not selling in Asia right now, do you have any kind of first steps they may want to take in getting ready?
Well, they have to understand all the testing requirements. To sell into China, all toys must be 3C tested, which is more difficult and more demanding than ASTM. So that's number one. And it takes 3 months, and the factory is tested as well. So that is a steep learning curve for anybody who is not familiar with selling into China. There are other requirements in Taiwan, Malaysia, Thailand. You really need to focus on which market you want to go after and thoroughly research not only the testing requirements, but the logistics and who you want to partner with, because it's not straightforward. And the very fact that we cover 10 markets, it's with 10 different standards, different currencies, different languages, instruction manuals have to be translated into different languages, different labeling on each pack. I could bore you for hours on this, but it is more complex than it seems.
And you must have an entire management structure designed to address all of that.
Nope. We're very
fantastic.
We're very lean and mean.
So here we are in the middle of COVID, and it's going to pass. We will find a vaccine. We will find a way to move forward. What are you seeing as you polish off your crystal ball?
I think Asia's gone through a tipping point in terms of e-commerce. While certain markets were relatively mature, others were not, because Asians love to shop and love to shop in malls. I think COVID has forced a whole swathe of consumers to migrate very quickly into the e-commerce space. And as I said, we were able to capitalize on that pretty effectively. And so I think that will now accelerate at a faster rate than had we not had COVID. We still have social distancing in some stores, but other markets are more relaxed by now. Mask wearing is absolutely the norm here, so that's not an issue. But in terms of trends, massive trend now in outdoor. Bike sales are flying because the child is entertained. It's one piece of equipment. They don't have to interact with other children. They can keep it clean and sanitized. A big increase in that. We've seen massive increases in arts and crafts. And I think almost some traditional play patterns will come back or stay the course. And that's why I think perhaps the movie properties may not be quite as dominant as they have been, particularly if they go direct to home streaming. I don't know, but certainly we are reacting. As I said, we try and be as nimble as we can. We listen to our consumers. We talk to our consumers. We have a loyalty membership of well over 20 million. So we're talking to them every day. They're talking to us. We get a lot of insights. And this is where I think it's absolutely key to stay as relevant and as close to your customer as you possibly can.
Joe, I know that you've been, as a company, active during the coronavirus in supporting Chinese families. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the work that Toys R Us has done?
We're really proud of our CSR program, and it's very active in China, where for many years now we've been working to refurbish and rebuild kindergartens in underprivileged areas in northwest China. We also provide stationery packs to those kindergartens on a regular basis. But I would say with the advent of COVID, we wanted to immediately rush to the support of the medical workers and frontline workers in Wuhan. So out of the blocks, we were able to get toy packs to 56 hospitals in Wuhan very quickly, and as an ongoing basis to thank those workers, but also recognize the sacrifices that they've made personally as well as professionally, because they were in lockdown for such a long time. We wanted to help them enjoy time with their families. So every month now between June and December, we send them a thank you letter with a little gift, and we just want to connect with them and show our thanks for all the sacrifices and how difficult it has been. Also, we set up a campaign internally to recognize COVID heroes amongst our own staff, be that in the stores or in the offices, because they too have been under pressure and gone above and beyond the call of duty. In China, we managed to get 200,000 masks out to all of our staff very, very quickly, 10,000 sets of gloves and hand sanitizer. So this just wasn't just the frontline workers in the hospitals. We wanted to recognize our own internal heroes as well, because we think that's absolutely important, that we feel connected and reward the welfare and the well-being of our own staff and customers. It's ongoing. There are still a lot of our officers working from home. There's a lot of pressure and stress and mental anguish that perhaps isn't readily evident, but we know is there. So we want to show that we are caring, and anybody under any sort of pressure can seek support wherever they need it from us.
Joe, Chris and I have been pretty overt in our feelings that digital trade shows, they just lack the soul that comes from that physical, person-to-person content, emotional element. I'm wondering if you have any opinions on where you think trade shows are going, and what do you think of the digital experience?
It's a great question, Richard. We have sat for many hours now looking at screens, looking at products. I think you're right. What's missing is that human interaction, that ability to feedback. Certainly when we're doing previews, we try and give as much feedback as possible to enhance the product or enter into a negotiation or, just have that dialogue. So I do agree with you that is missing. The interaction and the ability to negotiate there and then, it is completely stymied through the digital piece. It's just impossible to have that conversation. So we are missing the previews and the trade shows. I think also it tends to be the heart and soul of the industry. That it's the time when everybody gets together. It's the lifeblood of what we're about. We're talking about products. We're absolutely passionate about it. And we feed off each other. Hong Kong is a buzz when it's Toy Fair. You can't walk 3 feet down the road without bumping into somebody. And that's very much the nature of the industry. We're a people industry. We always have been. And whether we're competitors or not, I think there's a great reputation for the camaraderie and the sheer energy that is stimulated when you do get the trade show and the buzz and you're talking about new product. That's the heart of our business for decades. So, yeah, we can't wait to get trade shows back. I don't know when it will be. Will it be slightly different? But I really do feel that we're missing that opportunity to preview the big ranges in that collaborative way where you're talking with the designers and trying to be a part of the range development and be integral to how this maybe comes to market, what we're going to do with it. That just cannot take place at the moment. So I'm with you. The sooner we can all get back together, the better, albeit maybe in slightly different circumstances. I think the industry thrives on that, and we all miss it. And the sooner we can get back, the better.
Joe, you are, as people know, a woman. And historically, you were one of the first women really to come into the industry at a time when it was very, very male. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey and any advice for young women who want to come into this business?
Well, first, I'm happy to say that it's changed quite dramatically since when I joined. It was pretty male-dominated, and I actually had my children at that stage as well, which made it doubly hard. It was challenging in those early days. Fortunately, I have 3 older brothers, so I was pretty used to living in a high testosterone environment. But then having 2 kids was a bit of a challenge. It wasn't quite the support that there is now. Fast forward to Woolies days, and now, thank goodness, it's at least a 50-50 ratio. Women have gone on to be great leaders with great positions. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I would say now, I think in most buying teams, it's absolutely 50-50 and possibly skewed more to women, because I do think women make extremely good buyers and very good negotiators. In terms of glass ceiling, my only claim to fame is that I managed to get on a PLC board at 39. And I was the longest surviving female on that board at the time. But it's not easy. It isn't. And I'm just glad to say if we've blazed a trail or at least made it a bit easier, that the times have changed. Style of buying and selling has changed. I think it's all about partnership and relationship and joint business planning and far more mutual respect. Let the data do the talking instead of the opinions. And no, I think it's come a very long way. And you only have to walk around a toy fair, and it's definitely 50-50 now.
Joe Hall, thank you so much for staying late tonight and speaking with Richard and myself. We've had a wonderful time talking with Joe Hall, Chief Commercial Officer for Toys R Us Asia. What an inspiration you are. Thank you so much for spending the time with us.
It's been my absolute pleasure, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
This is the Playground Podcast. I'm Chris Byrne with Richard Gottlieb. We are brought to you by Global Toy Experts, The Toy Guy, and Kid Stuff Public Relations, and we hope you'll tune in next time.